Alrighty, I believe we are live. So if you're here hanging with me, my name is Billy. I am the Vice President of Nutrition and Communication for Green Juju. Obviously, if you're here with me, you know a little bit about Green Juju. When you come in, please say hi and ask many, many questions. We are here to be a transparent company. So what that means is we want you to be able to answer questions. We want you to be able to know who makes your food, who formulates your food, and why we do the things we do for animals. So hi to Tara, and Jean says Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone out there who is currently on board. So I think December comes upon us very quickly nowadays. So, Merry Christmas to you, Gene. And I would like to take this opportunity to just talk a little bit about Green Juju and what we do. So we make really, really actually natural, holistic products for dogs and cats. So we were the originator of the vegetable blend concept in the pet food industry. And we do that with a Bailey's blend, which is a green blend, our Just Greens blend, which is a greens blend. Obviously, you can tell with the title, and with our new golden blend, which is golden sort of carotenoid antioxidants and things in that field of nutrition. We also have an awesome freeze-dried treat line, which combines organ meat with specific antioxidant colors, which I just love, especially right now. I have a puppy, so those are very much coming in handy for that. So we also have two bone broths, which are novel proteins, which is our bison bone broth and our duck bone broth, which is very exciting for those who are looking on the cooling and neutral aspect of the Chinese medicine scale, and also for those animals that are dealing with allergies and things of the like. So, hi to Beth Kidd, and so so Gene says, with Green Juju added to his meal, do I have to add extra vegetables to his lightly cooked? I don't probably think so. I don't really know exactly what the formulation is from the product you're using. But if you're adding Green Juju, I don't think you'd have to add any extra steamed vegetables to whatever you're doing. So this is a good time to tell people too, whatever you're doing. So whether it's kibble, raw food, anything in between, canned, all that kind of stuff, gently cooked, adding the full amount of Green Juju is always going to be a very healthy thing to do. It's what I do for my own dog, is add that full suggested serving on there. So I don't think so, but I don't know the formulation, so I can't say 100%, but I truly appreciate the question there, Gene. Catherine says, Green Juju Advent calendar for next year. That's actually a really good idea. I am a big fan of Advent calendars. In fact, I have trouble seeing which way to move. That is an Advent calendar right there that my wife very lovingly puts things in for me. So that is not a bad idea. So Hope has a question. Thank you, Hope, so much for the question here. Hope says, does the bison broth advise how much to use? I have to pick it up at my local pet stores. That's great. Shopping local is an amazing thing to do. So it does have how much you're supposed to do on there. So our serving suggestion for the bison bone broth is going to be an ounce per 10 pounds. That is a great start, especially for those young healthy dogs. For those for seniors, I'd highly recommend you do double that amount. So that would be 2 ounces per 10 pounds. And keep in mind bone broth is an incredibly nutrient-dense food, but has very little calories. So it's really hard to overdo it. And it's a great source of, minerals. It's a great source of um, protein. Not great in that it has a ton of protein, but great in that it's in free amino acid form, and it's very efficient and can reduce the body's need for protein. So great for those seniors, great for those animals that are dealing with kidney issues because of that free amino acid protein um, thing there. Something to think about. I would also like to add, would like to let you guys know about some really cool stuff before I get to some more questions here. Thank you, Green Juju, for telling me the background looks nice. I do appreciate that. I did buy these plants, side note, because they're very good at air purifying. So those are spider plants. And then I will say that Emily is an amazing Christmas decorator. But we have some things coming up for Green Juju. Let me get out the old calendar here. So on the 20th, coming up, which is Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, there is an event for the Stronger Together organization. We have conversations. Some of you guys may have been involved in the one that had Dr. Judy Morgan and Nick Thompson from over in the UK. The last time, we are having an awesome conversation, nutrition conversation, taking questions, and it's going to be me and Julianne Lee from Adored Beast again, and then it's going to be Scott Marshall from Raw Feeding 101. He puts together balanced diets, so that will be really cool. And then also two of my favorite people, Larry and Charlie from Podega from United Arab Emirates, so over in Dubai. So they have been, doing a lot of great work in the natural pet scene for a long time. So we're gonna chat about nutrition. So sign up for that. You can find that over at Adored Beasts over on their website and on my Instagram, on their Instagram, on a lot of Instagrams there. And also, I would really like to say, because this is going to be a special one for me, because it's always fun. In January, I'm going to be in Seattle at Green Juju headquarters, because we're going to go over the year to come. And we're actually going to do a Facebook Live where it's going to be me and Kelly. So that will be an awesome opportunity for you guys to ask questions to the founder of Green Juju, Kelly Marion. That's going to be, we'll put some stuff up on social media, but that's going to be on January 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So very excited about that taking place. So those are a few things that are coming up. Very excited about the new year, for the opportunity to be able to come out and do some events at stores and get to meet some of you guys and get to do some stuff in person. Really looking forward to that in the coming year. So Amanda says, I would love to add the bone broth to my foster dog. However, she is allergic to beef. Would she necessarily be allergic to bison? No. An animal being allergic to beef would have no bearing on whether they're allergic to bison. She's also allergic to duck. Yeah, so bison is a great alternative to beef. Very similar in its nutrient profile, but, obviously very similar in its if you were talking about the meat or something, it's fatty profile and things like that. But in this case, you're talking about bone broth. So you're talking about protein. You're talking about all those wonderful minerals. So absolutely fine to try that to think about. So Gene says, ouch, bear is 160 pounds. I think you're talking about, I can go back up here. You are talking about the bone broth. Oh, okay, because you're talking about an ounce every 10 pounds. Yes, but Gene, I will tell you that keep in mind that any amount helps. So remember, it's very important for everyone to know that it's not necessarily, I just lost my train of thought. This is why I'm drinking espresso at 7:15. So this is what happens when you have a baby, folks, and a puppy. So everybody keep in mind, it doesn't have to be all or nothing when it comes to nutrition. right? Whatever you can do, whether it's budget, whether it's time, whatever it is, whatever you can do to get in fresh whole foods is amazing. I mean, if you're feeding a highly processed diet and want to add our blends into it, to look at reducing, the chances of getting cancer or just helping and getting all those healthy antioxidants into the diet, I think that's a great thing to do at any level. So even if it's less than, the recommended amount, especially with those of you with huge dogs, and things like that. So keep in mind, Gene, you're probably, I mean, you're here and you're asking questions and you're learning. So I imagine you're a great pet parent. And so um, your dogs are lucky to have you. So I have a tiny dog. Well, not tiny. French bulldogs are not necessarily tiny, but much tinier than 160 pounds. Um, Hope says he's 70 pounds and sensitive to new things. Thank you. He's 11. Definitely a time, Hope, to get in your the bison broth. Okay. So definitely a good time to get in the broth and at whatever level you can. Be it if it's, an ounce per 10 pounds or whatever you can do there. Highly beneficial. Um, I've been using bone broth therapeutically for many, many years and have had amazing results with it. Um, so something that I would highly recommend in your situation. By the way, I don't know if anyone noticed, but you can feel free to tell me if you noticed, but I am wearing one of my Lewis shirts. So, it's a little bit, hard to have the first Christmas without her, but I still honor her every day in what I do, especially here at Green Juju. So I did want to shout out to wearing the Lewis shirt. Um, and that is totally true. Thank you, Kelly, for the assist on that question. Janelle says, for dogs with cancer, should vegetables be avoided because of sugars, or are certain veggies that should be avoided for dogs with cancer because of sugars? Veggies should not be avoided, altogether because you're getting all of those, anti-cancer compounds. One of the things um, Green Juju, really one of the premises for our company is to get all of these different antioxidant colors into the diet. So it's the theme of our treats. So if you look at bison red and um, duck orange and all of those different all of our treat line, you have all those different antioxidant color compounds because every color is a different antioxidant type. And so you want to get those into a cancer dog's diet, but you also want those to be low carb. So you want those to be um, you know, on the low carb scale. So you want them to be low in carbs and high in, antioxidant properties, high in fiber, high in all those things that are going to contribute to a healthy diet, especially a cancer diet that you're doing, which is going to automatically be, or it should be, low carb, higher fat, higher protein diet to do that. And having worked, with many many cancer dogs over the years, I would highly recommend it. Um, Especially adding one of our green blends in there um, to be able to do that. Now, even our golden blend, which is a little bit higher in carbs, so all of our two green blends are 3% net carbs, wherein our golden blend is like 6 or 6.5. So those are still both low. If you're being very, very strict in terms of the carbohydrate content, you may want to just stick to the whatchamacallit, the two green blends. And I would also, we have our treat line is also very low in carbohydrates, so that's something you could incorporate as well, and you're also getting that wonderful liver in that heart in there, which is also going to, just contribute to a healthy diet, regardless of if your dog has cancer or not. So the short answer to that question, because all of my answers are very long, is that we would highly recommend incorporating our greens blend into, you know, those types of particular diets or those animals that are dealing with that particular type of health issue. So happy to advise on that. Beth Kid says, I noticed I saw a picture of your new pup the other day. How cute. Well, thank you so much. I agree. He is a maniac. He is crazy. It was definitely a transition to go from, a senior dog to an 8-week-old puppy who's now like, 12 or 13 weeks. But he's a cool guy, and we're very, very happy to have him in the family. I would bring him on camera now, but he's taking a break. We went on a walk before this, so I was trying to wrangle the old baby there. So Hope says, thank you for doing these lives. I love to learn about healthy products to help my guy and also help educate my clients. I own a pet care business in Maine. That's really cool. Hope, if you want to reach, I live in Pennsylvania, and I love to go to the Northeast, especially around the fall, but just generally like to explore Maine more. Let us know, Hope, what your store is called, and we'd be happy to give you a shout out here. And if I'm ever in the area, I would love to come there. Janelle says, thank you. You are welcome. So here, if you're a store and you're watching this either live or afterward, you know, it's always a good thing to let us know where you are and that you sell green juju. Reach out to us over email, because there are events going on all across the country which I will be attending and a part of, and so I'd love to come to your store and maybe do an event with you, or just come and meet you, hang out, train the staff, or whatever. So if you're seeing this at any point, feel free to do that. What was I going to say? Oh, good. Here's some more comments here. Oh, I know what I was going to say. These can also be viewed after the fact, and they're all cataloged on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/c/greenjuju, you will find it, or just go ahead and search Green Juju on YouTube. And if you would do me a favor and subscribe, that would be awesome. If you're a store, you will find training there, training videos, short training videos, a longer training video. Whatever your preference is there, you'll find these monthly lives. You'll find when we have new products, we post those as well. Descriptions, why we do things, where they're made, that type of thing. You could also find interviews from other channels that that both Kelly and I do. So if you want to learn more, there's always, there's a lot of long form information, but there's also some short information if you're, busy. So go ahead and check this out on YouTube, and you can watch us there. I don't want to mess up your name, but you're from Ontario, and you say, any plans for coming over to Ontario, Canada? Yes, we would love to come to Ontario, Canada. We are a small company, and an even smaller amount of people working, because it's just me and Kelly. So there's always a million things going on, but we would love to connect with you guys in Ontario, and we just need to work out distribution there. So that is something that would be great for me to put on my list for our meetings coming up in a few weeks, as mentioned earlier, when we do our meetings there, because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up for 2022. I'm very excited from the perspective of being with Green Juju, and it'll be my first full year. I did half a year this year, and it was an amazing year. So very excited about that. We'll get into at the end of this live a little bit about me being excited about the future in terms of some things we're developing and things like that. But we do have plans on that. So I don't know if you're a store owner there, or a consumer or what, but tell your local store that you want Green Juju, and maybe they can help us with distribution there. So Kelly says, I formulated Green Juju for my dog with cancer. I made it because I couldn't find anything on the market that was low carb. She avoided starchy vegetables like potatoes and carrots, etc. The other thing that's really cool too is I find that fermented foods are really great for animals that are dealing with cancer. So keep in mind, people, that our Bailey's blend, and only the Bailey's blend, not any of the other blends, does self-ferment in the refrigerator. So remember, it does ferment after 8 days, and then is good for another 2 weeks. So our recommendation on that is buy the largest container, feed it fresh for 8 days, and then on an average of 8 days, it gets down to that 4 pH, is fermented, and then you can go ahead and feed it and get other health benefits. It's the first self-rotating product on the pet food market. Something to think about there as well. So I'm getting the call out here to come to All Pets Considered. I would love to come to All Pets Considered in, don't kill me, North Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina, not South Carolina. I feel like I was at All Pets Considered many years ago, but that would be awesome. Send out an email and we'll try to make that happen. Really happy with the folks over there, and loved spending time with all of you at Super Zoo. I think I saw you multiple places, but definitely sat down at Super Zoo. Maybe Global too. I don't know. Maybe it was just Super Zoo, because I don't think there was Global last year. But you guys are awesome, doing great work over there. Which, just side note, shout out to all you stores that are just going crazy right now because of the holidays. We love our independent retailers here. We're adding more and more as time goes on. And it is really you guys who, connect with the customers, who take our vision and apply that to actual dogs and cats and have that connection. So we truly appreciate you, especially this time of year when we know that everything is crazy for you guys, and we truly appreciate everything you guys do for dogs and cats. Belinda says, do your products work for a dog with heart disease and pancreatitis? He's not a very good eater lately. Yes, you should not see any effects regarding heart disease and pancreatitis with our products, and also a healthy, more well-balanced diet, higher in antioxidants, aka including green juju, our treats, or even obviously our blends, is going to contribute positively to really, just a healthy overall disposition, but especially if you're dealing with disease conditions. So our products definitely work with those types of conditions there. Elizabeth Rose is calling out the Lewis shirt, so thank you for that. Appreciate that. This is, my favorite shirt. So Janelle says she's in remission. We're trying to keep it that way. That is so awesome. We love that. So what a great time. I think most of us come together, come to feeding animals naturally, to caring about, pet nutrition, to working in the pet food industry, to having a store because of a single special pet. And a lot of times it was because that pet dealt with a health issue. I know that, I'm here today because of this dog right here. So, and my current dog is benefiting from that as well. So I know that's a lot of our stories. And so I'm so happy that you're able to, that your dog is in remission, and you're able to be able to make necessary changes to be able to support that, because your dog is so lucky to have you. That's so cool. Tara says, my 12-and-a-half-year-old Aussie had 2 major surgeries, liver and emergency tieback, almost lost him. I gave green juju and a probiotic credit for helping me to heal his gut and help with acid reflux. He is doing great. Thank you for your green juju blends. We'll also try the new blend. That's so cool. Doing a really good probiotic like the one you did here, which is the Gut Soothe one with green juju, is an amazing thing. Because one of the things that we don't really talk about enough, we talk about it with people, but we don't really talk about it enough in the pet side of nutrition, is that probiotics thrive better with a greater diversity of plants to feed them. So taking a wonderful probiotic like that and then adding our blends to it is not only going to add all the health benefits I've been talking about, but it's also going to add is also going to feed that. There's different types of fiber. It's going to feed that probiotic. It's going to help create a better diversity of, you know, microbes in the gut. So that is just really cool. Um, and we are launching a promo with that coming up in February with some few select stores, and we're going to see how that goes, and then maybe move that to a larger scale later in the year if that goes well. So, what a cool story, and what a cool thing that your 12-and-a-half-year-old Aussie is still around, and we're just happy to be able to help contribute to that. So that is a great thing. So Amanda says, I have 5 large dogs, so even your largest tub of Bailey's blend doesn't last long enough to get to the self-fermenting stage. But that's totally fine because fresh foods have amazing health benefits. So you think about, you know, obviously fermented foods have amazing health benefits, but so do fresh foods. And I think adding, you know, both of those things together is a really important thing to do. I mean, that's why, you know, I feed the fermented version of Bailey's blend. I also feed the fresh version of the golden blend, and also the just grains, you know, in my formulations too. And if you ever want to see what I feed my dog, you can check out my Instagram. It's just my name, Billy_Hoekman. And, you know, check that out and subscribe because I do put my dog's meals on there. Obviously, all of them include amazing Green Juju products. So check that out at your leisure. Thank you, Kristen, for loving the shirt. Oliver says, just got my hands on the golden blend. Love it. It smells so good. It does smell very, very good. My favorite story about the golden blend, which I share a lot, is that when we were doing the tester and people were testing it out, someone actually, their dog got some in the crack of on the pavement on their back porch, and a squash plant started growing out of the plant. So that would be, you know, how fresh it would be. So that golden blend is just really, I just love that formulation in regard to combining the golden beets with the squash and the turmeric. You know, I just think it's a very special type of blend for that type of antioxidant content. And so we're just, you know, happy that people have had a lot of success using it. And, you know, that for me will always be a special one because it was right when I came on with Green Juju and was able to go out and, you know, help Kelly with the, you know, the first hand mixing the first batch. So that is really cool. And Lauren's dogs love the golden blend. That is awesome. And this is a good time for me to be able to really address a question we get occasionally, which is to say that you will see some amount of discoloration on top. So you might notice that when you open the golden blend, every time you open it, you get some discoloration on top, and then underneath it's beautiful and golden. That's a good thing. That means that it's actual food that has been exposed to some amount of oxygen. If it didn't do that, that would be trouble because there would be preservatives in it. So what we do at Green Juju is we take whole, real foods. There's no preservatives. They're organic foods. And then when those foods are exposed to air, they're going to have some discoloration. So side note, that is totally normal. It's actually a very healthy thing. It's actually a very good thing that you see that discoloration there. Now, I can speak, I swear. Wow, that pronunciation was painful. So, just something to think about. The other thing to think about too is if you see some, you know, we do a really good job of getting everything to be really consistent. But if you see some variance in the consistency, that's also a good thing because again, we're using whole foods, and whole foods have different consistencies, even if it's the same ingredients. So, something to think about if you open that up and you see that. So, Amanda, to answer your question about kidney issues in general, Green Juju is not going to negatively impact animals with really any kidney issue. So, feed on. Oliver says, I just got my hands on the Golden Blend, love it, and it smells so good. I am actually going to be moving to feeding that very soon. Myself, I am working right now on the Bailey's blend. I happened to post a picture of Huckleberry's food today, so go check that out on Instagram. But and that was with the fermented Bailey's blend. But I am moving to the Golden Blend myself, and I'm very excited. I always get nerdily excited when I get to move to the next blend because I've had been doing that, the last one for a while. So very exciting and very exciting for Huckleberry. So Marilyn says, darn, I'm late. That's okay because these are recorded and put onto our YouTube. You can also watch it right here on our Facebook wall. So check that out. You can check it out in 2 different places and subscribe to our YouTube over there. I'm going to be shameless about the YouTube subscribing. So please subscribe to our YouTube and check out what you missed on this live. And Marilyn, is not too late to ask a question. So I would like to throw that out there. Jerry says, is the Golden Blend available in Ohio yet? It should be. And hi, by the way, Jerry from Cleveland, Ohio. I don't see any reason why it is not available, but you'll have to ask your local store. So I feel like I drove, side note, Jerry, I feel like I've been driving to Wisconsin a lot from Pennsylvania, and I feel like we drive through Cleveland every time. I'm just going to check out yes, we do. We drive through Cleveland every time, but I've never actually been to your city, but I would like to. Kelly says that Green Juju is available in Ohio, so check that out. So Anne says, hello from Wisconsin. Thank you, Anne. I am you might know this because you said that. I am a Wisconsinite. I'm a very proud Wisconsinite. I'm from Wisconsin and tend to go there, visit as much as possible. So thank you so much for saying hi, and nice to see a fellow cheesehead. So Kimberly at Keep the Tail Wagging asked this question to Kelly, but I'm gonna weigh in on it too. So she says, when you recommend avoiding starchy vegetables, does this include the Golden Blend? So if you're recommending avoiding starchy vegetables when it comes to a strict cancer diet, you could stay with the green blends because they are going to have a lower amount. However, the amount of the diet itself, you could feed the Golden Blend and you could then just feed less of it, for example, if you're doing a diet that's lower in carbohydrates and you want to work in the Golden Blend. But it is also going to be, it's only 6% net carbs, and it is still going to be not a huge part of the diet. So if you're being very, very strict, yes, but no, you wouldn't have to avoid starches in this capacity, when focusing on that orange one. And it just depends on what you want to do. I mean, one of the things is you could get the benefit of getting all of those golden antioxidants from the Golden Blend, but you could just do it every once in a while as well. So you could do, feed, let's say you love just greens, you could feed the just greens 4 times and then feed the Golden Blend and do it that way. So there's a lot of things you can do, but it would depend on the dog specifically, in my opinion. So hopefully that helps. That was like a lot of different things. So hopefully that helps. Hi to Border Collie Jr. Melissa says, local store has duck broth and treats, but they're sold out. Patiently waiting for more to be available. Well, that is not good. So hopefully they can get more in stock soon. Thank you for being patient about that. I understand not being patient when it comes to the things we love to feed our animals. So let us know what store that is, because we want to thank them for carrying our products and selling so many of them that they sold out. So that's pretty cool. Alicia says, hello from California, the Bay Area. hello. Thanks for coming. I will be in California for one of our distributor trade shows. If you're watching this and you are in California, I will be in Los Angeles, where I used to live for 5 years, from looks like the 5th to the 10th for Pet Food Experts. One of our distributors is having a distributor show. So if you are a retailer and you're going to that, come and say hi because there will be a booth there, and maybe we can even get Kelly to come out to that. I'm trying to get Kelly out to as many things as I possibly can. So if you'd like to see Kelly Marion, founder, very fancy founder of Green Juju, at more events, please let me know in the comments here that you'd like to see her come out. So, um, but Alicia, I'm a big fan of the Bay Area. Love you have many good restaurants in that area that I have enjoyed over the years. So you're welcome, Kimberly. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for coming. I really enjoyed our dinner last time I was in Seattle. So that was pretty awesome to be able to hang out. So I appreciate that. So Angel says, I've added the golden blend to my dog's diet I purchased at Godfrey's in Pennsylvania. Thanks for all the great information you share. You're welcome, and I love Godfrey's in Pennsylvania. That was actually one of the last places that we took Lua before she passed, because she really liked to go out there, and she was able to go out in the grass and enjoy that. So really a big fan of Barb, the owner of Godfrey's. And so awesome that you're able to do that. I love all of my Pennsylvania folks here. I am a transplant to your state, but having moved to Lancaster here, huge fan of not only your state but this city. So, and Godfrey's is really not that far away. So awesome to hear from you, Angel. Lisa says SoCal. Yes, absolutely. We'll be in SoCal. And just so you know, if you're here in the chat, Kelly also elaborated on the question about avoiding starchy vegetables and the golden blend. So go check that out. Janine says, do you have a favorite product for dogs with heart and kidney disease? Well, again, I just want to reiterate that all of our products contribute to a healthy diet, which is going to be good for both of those things. One of my favorite things for kidney disease is the bone broth. I talk a lot about proteins not being created equal. So, for instance, egg protein versus plant protein or something like that is going to be two different things in terms of the amino acid arrangement, bioavailability of the actual protein itself. And bone broth is just so amazing because it doesn't require any work from the kidneys to filter out any of that waste, because it's all applicable to it's in free amino acid form. So normally the kidney would have to filter out waste when turning it into usable free amino acids, but in this case it doesn't. So highly recommend animals with kidney disease as a great support to do the bone broth, but also just getting those healthy antioxidants into the diet. I mean, a lot of the research right now, especially if you're looking at like the Forever Dog book and things like that, is coming with these high antioxidant plant foods, and they're reducing just disease conditions in general. So I would highly recommend picking up that book, and it really goes in line with the philosophy of everything we're doing, and combining. Obviously the mainstay of a dog or cat's diet needs to be animal products, meat, raw dairy, all these things that are animal-based products. But we know now through a lot of the science coming out that plants are having a really beneficial play a really beneficial role in helping a myriad of disease conditions. So bone broth for kidney disease, and our blends in great providing all of those antioxidants for animals dealing with heart or really any issue. Um, and another thing to think about too, and this is kind of like I guess a non sequitur to some degree, but I think is just important generally is a lot of what we're finding out now when it comes to just nutrition in general for both human and pets is a lot of it starts in the gut, and a lot of it can there's a lot of things that a healthy gut can contribute to, be it how the gut communicates with the brain or just generally. So again, getting those good sources of bacteria, but also feeding them, I think it's going to have a myriad of health benefits for really any disease condition, including heart and kidney. So highly recommend getting our blends involved in those diets as well, because there's no real drawbacks to it, which is, something that to think about. So, because my thing is always try the natural version first, because why wouldn't you start there? Because you always have to start with a healthy, complete diet. So, super happy about that. Janine says she's working her way through the audiobook now. That is a great way to read books. I enjoy that myself. I had a job one summer working at a factory, and I could listen to audiobooks, and it was one of the greatest summers because I just listened to audiobooks all day at work all summer. So that was pretty cool. Lisa says, my dog and cat absolutely love the bison bone broth. That is awesome. The bison bone broth is highly palatable, highly nutritious. You should also have them try the duck bone broth to get some, variation in there. Marilyn says, when I make bone broth, which protein is better for low-grade pancreatitis issues? Or better yet, which bone broth of yours? I don't know if either of them is going to be better for that specific issue, but they're both going to be good for it. What I mean by that is I don't think you have to pick one specifically based on the issue. I just think you need to incorporate them. But yes, our bone broths are great because they are wonderful. They provide high amounts of collagen. They're jelly. You can actually see, the thickness of it. And you don't have to do the work. So that's an amazing thing. They come in handy new packaging with a pour spout. It's all laid out there for you, and amazing and wonderful. So I agree with you, Marilyn. So I am going to end this soon. So because I think we're all looking forward to the holidays next week. Everyone has a lot going on. But I did want to say that we're working on some really cool stuff right now. So, and I will take, if you guys shoot some questions down there, I will answer that. But I didn't want to forget to tell you that we are working on some really amazing stuff. So I'm very excited. I can't obviously tell you what it is, but we have some really great ideas going into 2022. Some stuff we're currently doing, and I think you guys are going to be really excited about that. Our whole goal at Green Juju is to help as many dogs and cats as possible. I love nutrition nerds. Those are my people, but we need to help all dogs and cats and those people that, don't really care about nutrition. They just want a healthy dog. So we want to make products for all of you to be able to do that. And I think we're going to succeed there. And I think 2022 is going to be the best year for Green Juju for that reason. I think we're, I for one, love working within Kelly's vision of what this company is and where we need to go. And so, I am just excited. And so I hope that makes you guys excited about what's going to be coming soon. There. So, side note, I did want to mention that. So you guys could be excited about that. Border Collie Jr. says, how much bison bone broth would you recommend for a 52-pound dog? I would say an ounce, at least an ounce per 10 pounds. So that's 5.2 ounces. At least 5.2 ounces. Let's start there. And you could also do more. You could do 10.4 ounces as well. But at least start at 5.2. Catherine says, bone broth is one of the ingredients in the Just Greens blend. Is the bison bone broth serving recommendation assuming no other products are being fed? Yes, it is assuming that, but if you're doing the Just Greens blend, which includes the bison bone broth and coconut oil, which are amazing ingredients for fats and protein and just palatability in general, I would still recommend feeding the recommended dose on the actual bag there. I know that Doug is huge, so I don't know how much you're doing, but huge and lovable, and he is, one of my favorite dogs in the world. I know that. So I would recommend doing that, because keep in mind, again, bone broth is like 4 calories an ounce, so it's very hard to overdo it, and there's a lot of benefits to doing more and more. So with that, I think we'll call it an evening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. I just want to wish everybody out there a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you guys are celebrating. Hopefully you get to spend it with family. I know I will be taking a break and just enjoying my new daughter and my new dog, and of course my wife, who's the best person in the world. So I hope all of you guys have a wonderful holiday, and we appreciate every month that you guys want to come out onto these lives and learn and ask questions. And remember, on January 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern, me and Kelly will do a live together. So everybody have a wonderful holiday, and we will all see you soon.